of the causes are you?
I've been to lots of times.
Okay, here we are. We're in UK, and what you're seeing right here is the Kill the Bill protest in London, in Liverpool, and I believe in Oxford. And this is history in the making. What this bill is about is protest. It's about the police power, the state power to stop protest. Unbelievable, right? This is they're passing a bill tomorrow which says if you're carrying a bike chain, right, you and near a protest or on the way to a protest or on the way away from a protest, anything, you can be arrested. You can be arrested. Now, I heard about this bill or the predecessor to this bill many months ago, and Roger the Reality Rooster, which is also part of what we're talking about here. This is a case of wake up. This is a real wake up, a real wake up to reality situation. This is a reality. This is happening live right now. These protests that you're seeing on the video will not be legal after Monday, the 17th of January, 2022, if this bill passes. That's tomorrow. How many people are on the street? Well, actually, there are thousands out on the street in London, but otherwise, other parts of the world, not so many people are out protesting because they simply don't know. They simply don't know that they are not likely the kind of people that would go to a protest in the first place, but they will be affected, as it's pointed out in these interviews that are going on during this protest of Kill the Bill. People are pointing out that the suffragettes and how they got the right, the women got the right to vote, it was because of protest. And it wasn't non-violent protest. The suffragettes, the women who were campaigning for their own ability to vote, broke windows and caused a lot of noise, of course, and didn't move. You know, these are the mothers and the daughters of these legislators in the parliaments who were saying, "Hey, you know, we hold up half the sky. What are you doing? And how is it you're not listening to us?" Well, this is now 2022, and I would say the draconian, well, let's say the Orwellian, right? This is really very Orwellian. What we see today, this is January 16th, 2022, and what we're seeing is what's happening tomorrow is this bill, and I'm afraid I don't know the name of it, but the protest chant is "Kill the Bill," and it's a police powers bill, I believe it's called. But in any event, it's not important what it's called. What's important is what does it do and what does it restrict? And what it restricts is the ability to protest. There are crazy requirements in this bill, like you're not allowed to hold hands. Why? Because there were people holding hands in protests, right? But people can't hold hands on the street. People can't assemble with a sign, more than 2 people. What are you talking about? How is that even possible? How could any legislator, honest, democratic-minded legislator, agree to this? Let's listen to what Fergal is saying here.
Columns watching what's going on. I wonder what they think, knowing that the rights of democracy is getting destroyed here in the UK. Literally, there is hundreds and thousands, or not hundreds and thousands, there's definitely thousands of people here. It's a huge turnout, which is absolutely fantastic. But considering what's actually at stake, it is quite small. I think there's a lot of people who still don't understand the significance of actually what's happening here in the UK. Talking to a young man earlier, and he's not part of any political organisation. And he just came because he was just so shocked at the fact that he learned that they were going to lose their right to protest, and just couldn't believe it. So what we got here is literally people from all different groups, organisations, descending now into Bogdan Square. We've got people who've come from all different parts of the country to be here, which is absolutely fantastic. It's a good show of support. I'm going to go and walk quite quickly, try and catch up with the front of the march. Just a reminder, in case you're just tuning in here, with what's actually going on. The protest today is about the right to protest. It's now gone through the House of Commons. It's the Police Crime Sentencing and Courts Bill 2021, which is pretty much a draconian bill that's going to take away lots of our human rights for so many different communities. I'm from environmental movements, and that's why I protest. But there's some people who have been affected by the bill, including the Gypsy, Roma, and travelling community. They're so severely going to be affected that they can have their home seized under the new bill that's coming through. It means that if they stop in what's deemed to be an illegal place instead of getting moved on, the new Police Crime Sentencing and Courts Bill, they have the right, if it's two or more vehicles, to seize the vehicles. And as we know, the vehicles are these people's homes. So they've had their ancient rights to roam and their ancient rights for the last 500 years are now being eroded by this bill that's coming through. That's going to be essentially making them criminals. So as soon as it comes in, it's going to be a criminal act, and they can have their houses seized, confiscated. And it's just absolutely shocking. There's so many different things in the bill going to affect so many different communities, marginalised groups. Also, if you've got in the future things like the RMT, if they want to protest and set up a picket line outside a train station, that's actually going to be illegal because it's a main infrastructure. So these parts are what's coming under the amendment. The amendment is 18 pages of additional laws that the government tried to sneak in. They've done a pretty good job of sneaking it in. So it's gone straight to the House of Lords. The House of Lords actually have the power to overthrow this. So there's a lot of pressure going on. I don't know if in the chat if there's a link to where people can actually write to their MPs, write to their members of House of Lords, and just tell them to oppose this bill. So if two or more people are protesting, that can be an unlawful protest, and you could be arrested with a 51-week beating. There you go. Look at this energy coming along here. Just going to just spin the camera right here, give you a bird's eye view of what I'm saying here.
Okay, so they're heading down toward the Parliament Square, which is also where in 2019, yours truly, Sustaina Claus, where's my Sustaina Claus hat? Well, here, Sustaina Claus was also, we were circulating between Parliament Square and Oxford Circus and Marble Arch and Waterloo Bridge and so on. These are the same areas that Extinction Rebellion was occupying, basically. So this is very, very important. I mean, this is so critical. I don't know if people really understand, and I don't. Maybe I'm not communicating the incredible import, the incredible importance of what's happening right now. There's people reporting, or there are some news outlets reporting what's happening in Ukraine, in Kazakhstan, in Australia, in Canada, and of course the United States as well. As these crises that are going on. Yes, of course, there are very serious crises going on, wars, protests by large numbers of people like this. But what happened? In Kazakhstan, the Russian security army came in and quelled all rebellion. Basically, I'm sure they told people just go home, right? Hopefully they didn't shoot too many, but I imagine they did. I think 200 and something people were killed, 240 or something people were killed. Would it not be a horror to see that kind of action here in this democracy? Well, with laws as they've just described them, people will not put up with it. They will not. It's not just the Roma. It's not just the travelers. It's not just these people. This means everyone, rich, poor, intelligent, not so intelligent, educated, not educated, nice areas, poor areas. All of this, you're all the same under the law. Now, if you stop protest, that means you can't protest. The kids can't protest outside their school that they don't have proper books. The trade unions can't protest. XR can't protest. Black Lives Matter can't protest. Nobody can protest, right? Basically, it's an anti-protest law. So this is incredible. This is, I don't know if you really are getting the full impact of what this is about. This is totalitarianism. This is fascism. If you think about who they're targeting, they're not targeting Jews specifically, but they're targeting Roma and travelers. And so what happened in the 1930s in Nazi Germany? Well, they were targeting certain groups of people. Now they were targeting them by group, saying, okay, the Jews and the gays and the Roma and so on, they will be put in the concentration camps, which are also being built, or maybe they just exist already. And they were put there and eliminated, right? Made extinct. This is the same thing, hopefully not violent, but taking away a Roma's vehicle, right? These are travelers. These are people who live in their caravans. Taking that away takes away their home. So they're now on the street, homeless. And now they're subject not only to the violence of being on the street and having lost their home and their possessions, but they're also against the law. So they will then be arrested and put in a camp, in a prison, in a camp. The other thing is, they said for this Fergal, this guy that's talking on the video here, he's pointing out how if you contravene this law, you can get 51 weeks of prison time. And I, of course, as Sustain a Clause, am a protester and nonviolent, of course. But look at this, look at the sign that I made. I guess I made this must have been in July or something of last year. It says, criminally annoying citizen of ConscienceLAND. So this is exactly what people are doing now in this protest. And they're protesting as being annoying, right? Here they're being annoying to illustrate that being annoying is not against the law. That's how anything ever gets done. That's how any progress is ever made. It's by being annoying. So here you go, criminally annoying citizen of ConscienceLAND. So I encourage everyone, and I do encourage it. Go ahead, deport me, right? Where in the world should we not be encouraging people to stand up for their human rights, their right of assembly, their freedom of movement, freedom of speech? What kind of a government is taking away these freedoms? freedom to protest. What is that? It's not any government that I would support or I would pay attention to. So, as they say, as these people who are being interviewed point out, oh, what do we got? We got some action. Let me turn up the volume.
Letting the government know that they're being watched.
Okay, it's a big I, letting the government know they're being watched.
I wonder, is there any parties going on in here today?
Oh, and there's number 10 Downing.
Yeah, it's there.
Where's the party?
At the postcode this year, probably is over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
Let's go.
So we got this young man's here for a party. Yeah.
So this is right outside number 10 Downing Street. And this is where Boris Johnson and his cronies were, they were partying. And, there was drugs involved, there's partying involved. They just don't live the same life as the rules that they impose on the citizens of the UK. It's really, I suspect this is one of the tipping point breakdowns of our democracies. Here, let me open this up to this.
Tell us why, yeah.
My name's Anita. I'm here in Bristol on College Green with all these incredible people, and we're all here to protest the Police Crime Preventive Reports Bill, also known as the Policing Bill, which is introducing new measures to effectively crack down and make it almost entirely illegal to have any form of protest. Essentially what we're doing right now, coming together as a community, our fundamental right to protest out on the streets. If this bill passes, it's going to make it incredibly difficult and effectively illegal for us to take this kind of action. So it's so important that we're out here, we're on the street, we're raising our voices, we're coming together and we're protesting this new bill and making sure that it doesn't go through, that House of Lords doesn't approve it, and that we all show how much we're against this.
Why is this bill bad?
This bill is bad because it's introducing so many new measures that are effectively making it very difficult and more is okay to protest. So one example of that is introducing very heavy-handed stop and search tactics policies. We know stop and search is already a very bad thing.
Okay, it's very, very hard to hear. Very poor audio, but you can see a young woman is out there with her sign, right? Kill the bill, and about protest. And she's saying that she has to encourage her friends and encourage everyone to also join in that fight. Right here, you've got Roger the Reality Rooster and LCP, the Low Carbon Panda. They are encouraging you. I'm channeling for them. They are encouraging you to get out on the street. Now, you may not be in the UK, but you can get out on the street in your own community, and you don't have to protest. All you have to do is show up, be out on the street, talk to people, build up relationships, show that you care, show that you're interested, show that you're not giving up on humanity, you're not giving up on your community, you're not giving up on civilization, you're not giving up on being on the street free to move. This is the key thing. We have to not hide away in our homes, regardless of COVID or anything else. Where's my mask here? Here's my mask, right? Okay, wear a mask. Absolutely. Go out, put a mask on, go out, walk around, say hello to people, strike up a conversation, learn about other people's lives, figure out what's happening, converse about what these different laws and bills and government actions and so on are, have an open dialogue, an open discussion about what's happening, and don't let them beat you down. Don't let them turn this planet into a prison planet. Don't let them do it. They're doing it now. Clearly, no kidding. Look around, wake up, Roger. Buck, 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 wake up to the reality. And as I listen to this wonderful, these wonderful people who are protesting, and I have to say, I would be protesting. I would be donning my Sustaina Claus jacket and my hat and signs and sustaiниes, but I'm in quarantine. I have to stay because I have to go into hospital for my operations. So unfortunately for me, I can't go outside. I can't for the couple of days. I cannot do the interaction in case there's the COVID stuff around. Not that it's going to kill me. It's just that the operation will be canceled if that happens. So that's my excuse. Maybe it seems lame to you, but I think my background and my history speaks for itself. I've been doing this for years. I've been out in the street. You see the videos. I've been in the UN as Sustaina Claus with the People's SDG banner. I'm doing my best to show up, to point out the ridiculousness of these faceless people. I mean, sure, we see the puppets, but it's not the puppets that are actually determining the rules. It's people behind them that we never see. These are the peoples, the transnational corporations, the bankers, the people who are running the financial, or the one who are trying to reset, doing the Great Reset. These are the people behind what you're seeing. And these people are, I hope they're not pawns, because they could be being, just part of the big game. Right? And they will be hurt. They will be imprisoned. They will be shot. They will have the problems. I will be too. I will be imprisoned. I will be shot. Why? Because I stand for freedom, and I stand against fascism. I stand against totalitarianism. I stand against authoritarianism. There's these people who are running our world right now. Are they that much smarter and better than you? I'd say no, not at all. They don't even have a plan. Their bosses have a plan, but those politicians in the foreground, they're not doing anything. They don't have a plan. So let's cut it off now. It is the end of our little live stream. Thank you for listening. Thank you for taking a look. This is history in the making. Here you go, the Extinction Rebellion people. All these images are flipped around, unfortunately. But
We got these people who are killing the bill.
Oh, I see. They're killing the bill. They're making an action of killing the bill. Of course, the street theater is absolutely important and necessary. Oh, I see. There's a person in there. Be careful. Don't hurt anybody.
Discrimination against the Gypsy Roman Catholic community.
And protest.
It's back to life. We thought the bill was killed, but the bill is back to life. We've just arrived now in Trafalgar Square.
So they're in Trafalgar Square now.
We're in front of the Houses of Parliament.
One of the
We're saying about protecting the right to protest.
Yeah, protect the right to protest. It's really amazing. I wonder what will happen
Signs everywhere. It's all about protecting the.
If there's a chance
of protesting.
That the police and the army, the armed forces, if they somehow see the light and take sides with the people, that would be amazing. I don't expect the police to do it, but the army could do it. In their democratic right to protest. The army, the armed forces, could easily protect the people against the police or against whatever else. I mean, what is there to protect against once you have the people's army on your side? I mean, if the army is controlled by the parliament and not obedient to the people, what's the point of having an army, right? We know the police are paid to do the government's bidding. That's what the police are doing. They're not paid by the people directly. I mean, they're paid through taxes, of course, but they are paid by the municipalities and the cities and the governments. They are paid to protect property, to protect the rich. That's what traditionally the police are there for, is to protect property of the wealthy against violence against them, and also violence against the property. They don't want it burnt down. They don't want it wrecked. They don't want the windows smashed. They don't want paint flowing on them. So that's traditionally, is the police are not there for protecting the people. If they were, then people wouldn't die, in these circumstances. There wouldn't be so many deaths of people in their interactions with police. They're not there to protect the people. They're there to protect who pays them directly, as I said, who actually signs their checks, signs their pay slips. They work for that group, and that's the government, or that's the wealthy, or the corporations, the transnational corporations. They have their own police forces even. So when you're talking about police, you have to be very careful. I mean, I've been beaten by the police. I've been thrown in jail. I've been, hurt many, many times by the police. So I don't hate them all. They're just people, quote, doing their job, but they chose to do that job, and they chose to follow their orders. And if their orders are against democracy, well, I think that's where the army and the armed forces comes in, because for sure, I mean, I hope for sure, the armed forces of a country are to protect the people. They're to protect the people, the human beings, their families, friends, people, where they come from. And I think, I can only hope, let's say, that these criminals, and the criminals are not out on the street here. The criminals are not the people who are protesting. They're being criminalized. But the criminals are the people who would go against their own rules, i.e., the recent events in number 10 Downing Street and other places. They would go against their own rules. They rise above their rules. They're not subject to their own rules. And they try to suppress the information. They hack our brains. They take advantage of our misunderstanding between pleasure and happiness. They tease us and seduce us and confuse us and misrepresent to us for their own monetary gain. It's no different in any country. No country. Canada, US, Britain, France, Germany, everywhere. I mean, all those Western nations I'm mentioning, but I'm sure it's true in Russia, it's true in Nigeria, it's true in South Africa, it's true in Bangladesh, it's true everywhere that we go. The governments are not trustworthy. They do not represent the people. They say it, they have beautiful words, they're big lecturers, they're big orators, but they don't. It's not true. What they say is just to manipulate you, just to get your vote. And then it's once you voted them into office, or it's been rigged so that they get into office, but you legitimize their rigged setup, they forget you. They immediately forget you. And they just immediately run to the transnational corporations and with their hands out, and say, whatever policy and legislation you want, just tell me, just give me the money now. I have a pool to build. I have a yacht to buy. I have a car to buy. I have fancy meals to take out on my expense account with the actually the transnational corporations would pay that bill. But you get the drift of what I'm saying. They're just getting into position. Once they're in position, they forget who got them there. And that's clearly, it used to work, but it's not working anymore. Let's listen up as we say goodbye from this conscience land.
Attention and raising a lot of awareness is really crucial in just shaping the conversation and the actual changes that are now being made to funding that. So is that something as well that worries you, that particular amendment?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's so much. I feel so much like very personalised. Actually, this seems like it really feels like a kind of revenge thing. I mean, the importance of there's so many. We're such a pivotal point really in our ability to protect the future now, and this is something that's happening. It feels like it's happening all over the world. The tidying up of becoming more authoritarian everywhere, and it just needs democracy. It just has to be defended in the right way. That has to be defended.
Yeah, definitely.
So you hear that it's become, according to this gentleman, it's becoming more authoritarian all around the world. I just mentioned something similar to that, and he feels that this is a pivotal point. And I would say even today, tomorrow is a pivotal point. If the House of Lords does not stop this bill going through, I hope it doesn't come to this, but I think people will say, you have let us down so badly, so callously. You have no problems because you have the wealth and the resources. You're leaving us to fight among ourselves, which is what you've set us up to do anyway. And now we're not going to fight amongst ourselves. We will turn our torches and pitchforks toward you, not toward each other. There is a better world coming. We're going through a horrible time right now. I think what you're going to see is ConscienceLAND and the conscience verse will emerge. It's emerging now. We have a symbol for it. It's the 3 fingers. It's the Web 3. W3, Web 3. It's the third 3.0 of the internet. And it's, in the case of ConscienceLAND, it's online, offline. It's digital, back to analog. We need to talk with each other. We need to hug each other. We need to express love, lifestyle of voluntary effort to each other. That's the only way it's going to work. And heroes like the people here that are on the street today showing up, we will remember them and we will thank them from the depths of our heart here in ConscienceLAND. Thanks, everybody.